Welcome to issue 231 of Critical Encounters, a podcast about Marvel Champions, a living card game by Fantasy Flight Games. Here we take a good look at that most critical piece of the game, the encounter sets. We'll discuss those poorly understood characters, unfairly labeled villains, and their various plans to shape humanity and benefit the planet, blah blah, as well as those so-called heroes intent on thwarting them. I am one of your hosts, ex-hosts, I guess, Mustafa. Who else do we have today?
Hi, Moose. It's Steve. Oh, so glad that you could be here with us tonight.
Hey.
And that we made it through the intro. Yes!
It's going to be a long night.
A long, beautiful night.
Yeah. And joining us is Daniel. Hi, Daniel.
Hi, Steve.
Hi.
Moose was sitting literally right next to me on my right.
Yep.
He is here.
I no longer have a computer that's available to me, so I'm crouching next to Daniel, speaking into the same microphone on his laptop. Yes.
So what a delight to have you back, Mustafa, of course. Steve, there's three of us already, but I feel like the energy of a fourth is with us.
Yeah. We have replaced our Canadian with a former Englishman. Darcy is back. Hey, James. How's it going?
Hey guys, let me know if audio is bad because I'm borrowing this computer that I found from somewhere and I'm trying it out for the first time.
It sounds great.
I'm gonna say Mustafa on the back with like a Hello Kitty sticker because that would be his.
It's got a whole pile of things all over it and I don't want to touch it.
This is gonna be a show. This is gonna be
wild and wonky.
Yes.
Right.
But Mike is suspiciously absent. Daniel, why is Michael not here?
Well, it's funny. He chose this night of all nights, Steve, to get with a group of his real friends to build decks for BusterCon, which is an Arkham horror card game convention.
That just means you can say whatever you want about him.
That's right. That's right.
So he's going to go to an Arkham horror convention, but he couldn't be bothered to come to the Marvel Champions convention.
Isn't that weird?
See.
Yeah. Priorities.
Yeah.
The real villain of the show is clearly Mike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm glad that we sold him out like that.
So in a way, by being the villain, did he win or something?
Yeah,
by showing how villainous he is.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's now the arch villain of the show.
Yeah.
Oof. All right. I'm gonna get to say this a couple times, and we're gonna power through a little bit because the show is gonna go long. I feel like. But Daniel, what's on your mind tonight?
Well, a review. We got a review, Steve. And I wouldn't be talking about it if it weren't 5-star. So let me read it. This comes from a dear friend of ours.
Does Steve's mom ever leave non-5-star
No,
reviews?
Steve's mom only reads 5-star reviews.
So he means dear friend because it's very expensive to get this friend to leave 5-star reviews.
Great show, great info, great people.
Oh, yeah.
All right, 5 stars coming from Josh. Now, we know Josh, Steve, because he's here all the time with us.
Yeah.
He's great. This is Josh from the Hills Have Nerds, everybody.
Is this the guy that smashed the door open on Asteroid M and just left it on me?
And then left you and stepped on you.
Same.
I love that guy.
Awesome show, he says. I've been a listener for years and recently even had the pleasure of being a guest on one of the episodes. Love these guys and their villainous ways. Even if you're not a fan of Marvel Champions, there's enough pure supervillain lore in this show to entertain you. I'm just sorry it's taken me this long to leave a review. Thanks, Josh. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. I've had the great pleasure of being on the Hills Have Nerds one time. It was awesome. Talking literature.
Given that it took him 3 minutes to write this, why did it take him 7 years or however long before he could write it?
I don't know. Some people are shy about that.
I still haven't left a review for his show, so, whatever.
And I like the side plug as well.
You left at least 6 reviews for this show, though.
That was my mom.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what's on my mind tonight, Steve, is Josh.
Oh, excellent.
Yep. I probably should have read that whole thing in my attempt at his accent. I feel bad. Anyway, never mind. Carry on. What's on your mind, Steve?
Oh, what's on my mind is a Patreon thank you. So another person who we have interacted with is getting a thank you here for being a Patreon member of the show. Doff DeHare. You remember him?
Yes.
Yes. Now, last we saw him, he was stuck up in the polar bear stables, getting clawed and bitten, and he was really putting in a lot of effort, but he wasn't getting any of the credit we've decided to officially promote him to the Polar Bear Stable Master. And, the title does not come with a raise, a little bit more work. We're going to get some more polar bears in there for him. But thanks, Doff. Keep up the good work.
That seems only right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic.
Show used to be pure. We didn't take any money from anyone, and you still did it.
Yeah, but that wasn't villainous enough. See, now we take their money, and we haven't increased the quality.
That is clear. That is very clear.
They haven't even given me a
real microphone. Yeah, but I think nobody cares about any of that. I mean, Doff does, and Josh might, but I think a lot of folks, at least long time listeners, want to know, Mustafa, what is on your mind tonight?
I thought you'd never ask.
I almost didn't, but kind of have to out of that contract we signed. So
yeah. How long do we have? No, I'm kidding. Look, I actually didn't know what to say. We were talking about this with Daniel, who of course told me that I was doing this like at 3 p.m. today.
That is true.
Yeah, that one's true. Yep, that one's true.
Yeah. So I'll say it again. Nothing really has changed. So
wait, to be fair, we had two completely different shows planned for tonight, and since we just completely changed topics and switched to this, so it's not really Daniel's fault that he asked you late. So
yeah, nice cover.
For once, actually
for once he gets one.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. Thanks for having my back, bro.
Yeah, that's his one thing, one ticket.
It's his one.
He's used it. So, but he did tell me like I'm too much of a like Pollyanna. Let's all get together and have a group hug. So he said you need to go dark. I don't want to because it's just not really me when I'm doing this. It's me when, like any other time of the day, but when I'm doing this, I just don't like to do it. So I was gonna talk about luck and its role in our lives. I don't know if that sounds interesting.
Totally.
Roll with it. I mean, this card game's half luck, right? You're shuffling, randomized. Let's do it. We have the domino hero, so perfect.
A bit at a higher level, I was going to talk about luck. So I was going to talk about like how first of all, speaking of dark, I don't know if you've noticed, but the world has taken a bit of a turn. If you look around the world, and there seems to be a rising tide of kind of resentment or rejection, or at best maybe racism at worst, against people who are kind of having to leave their places that they lived in and having to migrate. And that's happening more and more because of various reasons, including climate change, which is one of probably the top reasons. And right now, I think anybody who's not center or center of left has totally left the show, and they're not going to listen to the rest of the episode because I said climate change. I'm sorry. You lost, one of your two listeners. I don't know whether this daft guy is one of the two or not, but he's paying, so he probably does listen to it. Okay, so people are increasingly having to migrate, not by choice, mind you, okay, because they feel like they have to. Who wants to leave the country of their birth, the place they grew up in, and go to a completely... Oh, wait, I did that.
Yeah, me too, but...
And you did too. But
okay.
The circumstances under which... The circumstances under which people are having to do that, Syrians, Afghans, Central Americans, are very different from the way we did it. I consciously left a fairly comfortable potential life in Turkey to come here because I felt like I owed my luck, which I will eventually get to, that journey. But I'll recount a Thanksgiving dinner at some friend's house in Michigan. We were going to their house for the first time, and they felt like, okay, we'll invite another person from that part of the world, so Mustafa can feel at home and have somebody to talk to. So they invite this Bulgarian guy. For your other listener who doesn't know where Bulgaria and Turkey are, they're right next to each other. And there's a history between Bulgaria and Turkey. None of that is really relevant. I'm just giving it to you for no reason at all. But they felt like because those countries are close to each other, we could have a rapport at dinner, and therefore they wouldn't have to talk to me all the time, which, as you all know, is kind of
Painful.
boring. Yes,
it's a good plan. It was a good plan. Yeah.
Yes. This guy is older than me, not by that much. And he emigrated to the US. And when I was talking to him and I told him I was working on helping immigrants at the law school I was going to, I was representing workers, especially immigrant workers. And he kind of started going off on, like, why would you do that? And his view was, I came here, I didn't speak a word of English, nobody helped me, I raised myself by my own bootstraps. And he was like 100% American dream. I am who I am because of who I am. He had completely bought into that. So we had a discussion. In fact, the host got kind of uncomfortable and they never invited me back again. I'm surprised you guys still are inviting me back again, but here we are. But I'm telling you this anecdote for several reasons. One, this anti-immigration feeling isn't nativist only. Certainly there are nativist parts to it, but it's not nativist. This guy came from Bulgaria, not speaking a word of English, if you believe him, and managed to pass his medical boards. Miracle. And without anybody's help. It's possible. Like, let's give him credit. Maybe he did all that. But I did tell him, like, I can't believe you had 0 people helping you and you had, like, nothing that happened to you that was kind of like, if it hadn't been right place, right time type of thing, you would have ended up in a different place. Mm-hmm. And he didn't take that kindly. And I think on the one hand, there are some really positive things about the American dream, work hard and you'll succeed. But I'm going to now switch and give you one fact. Last year, there were 20 plus new billionaires in the world under 30 years old. They were not, they were new. There were many new billionaires in the world. But last year, there were 20 plus under 30. 0 of those billionaires actually made their own money. They all inherited it. Okay. So they did 0 work to become a billionaire. They just happened to be born into the right family. So you cannot discount the role of the system you're exposed to and the times and places that just went right for you wherever you are. You can be a billionaire, you can be a Bulgarian doctor, you can be some guy who's just talking stuff on a podcast, or you can be an immigrant who's sleeping out in the open or in a concentration camp somewhere, because some of them are concentration camps. We're all there, not because we deserve it, bad or good, but because it just went that way for us at one or more points in our lives. And for me, I am keenly aware of all the times it went right for me that enabled me to be talking to you right now from the comfort of Daniel's study, although without a microphone. So I don't know what I did to deserve that. But that's what's on my mind. Like, I think this inability to understand the role of luck has a slightly positive aspect to it, in that you believe in yourself and you work hard and you get to where you get to. Great. But it also turns us against people who are not as fortunate. And we use that word, but we don't really mean it. We feel like they've done something to deserve it. And very few of them have, if any. And once we start thinking about it that way, I think we can have that really, really important thing called empathy. And we all have it, but I think we construct these arguments about, like, they're here just trying to get our jobs, or whatever it is that the rationale is. They're all criminals, whatever the rationale is. We build those stories to make ourselves turn off that human side of ours that feels empathy for them, because we know all deep down inside that those people don't want to be in that situation. They don't want to be trekking across deserts or going into a dangerous sea in leaky boats. They feel like they have to. They send their kids without any parents around. Who does that if they're not desperate to do it? I could say a lot more, but I'm going to stop. I hope this was dark enough.
Dark with light.
Thank you.
Yes. Dark with light. And you can make it lighter by helping other people, right? Reach out. Be positive. Help other people. Do what you can, right? Share your own luck with other people. improve their lives.
Exactly. That's why I'm talking to you guys.
You have improved
You're
our
improving
lives.
our lives.
No.
Oh, jeez. Mustafa, that was beautiful. Thank you.
Sure.
Seriously, thank you.
Oh, by the way, the average global income per person is $19,733 per year. And we have, just over several hundred billionaires who own $193 trillion. So you can do the math between those two numbers. So I think one of the things
that math tells me I'm unlucky.
You have far too much faith in my math ability, but yeah, okay.
I can barely do the math for my hand of cards, but yeah, you got it.
Understand the
Thank
point.
you, man. That was great. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's nice to see you as you deliver that because you feel it. It's there. This is real stuff. All right. Steve.
Yeah.
There's another reason to bring an arch villain like Mustafa on the show, though. What is it? What are we doing tonight?
Well, other than he's our friend. What are we doing? Yeah, okay. What are we doing tonight? This is a Supervillain Roundtable number 12. We have now done a dozen of them, if you count this one. We're going to talk about the brand new set of rules that have dropped in the rules reference guide, the RRG 1.6. So we're going to look at this. It came out on the 23rd of July. We are recording on the 24th of July, and this will release several weeks later, so it will already have been hashed around and people have talked about it, but it's as quick as we can make our turnaround. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through some of the notable changes. We're going to talk about some of them. We're going to discuss, rules and what we think of them and how we play with them. And we're going to take a little time, if there is some time still, and we're going to talk about the new FFG weekly one-shots. And then we're going to discuss one of the characters who may have traded sides and our thoughts on that at the end. So we'll see how that goes. So
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know there really were rules. I thought you just kind of played how you want. That's what Mike always says.
Play the game you want to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except there are rules. There are rules, and you should try to play with the rules, right? A lot of times, I think when we say play the game you want to play, we're talking about modulars. We're talking about special circumstance rules, like put the power stone on so and so, or play with this funny thing, or tweak the game, not necessarily ignore the rules.
I see, but you really are supposed to read, like, say, the whole card.
Yeah, reading the whole card, Daniel, does help. Reading the card explains the card.
Fine.
So, yeah.
Hey, Steve, before we do this, I would like to thank James, if I may. So, James, thank you for coming over last week.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for opening your home.
Yeah, Steve, James and Lexicon, Scott, they were in my abode last week, and we played a game. We played On the Run.
Scott was there too.
We whooped it.
Cool.
James, you're an amazing guest. Thank you for all the things that you brought. That was awesome.
Thank you. I got to enjoy some incredible empanadas courtesy of Daniel's wife, and they were fantastic. So thank you to you as well.
She's never served me empanadas.
I don't either. Last time I was there, Daniel made me some leftovers from the bottom drawer of the fridge in the back. He's scraping off some green stuff. He's like, don't just ignore that.
Back to the look. I also got leftovers, but no, not because of me. I got lucky on the day that I went that's what was at the back of the fridge, and it was not yet green. And one of Daniel's daughters got unlucky because when she went rummaging for food, this humble guest had already eaten the empanadas, so she had to find something else.
Luck. Well. See, all about luck. Yeah. There we are. Back to it. All right. Thank you, Steve. Let's do this.
Okay. I'm going to run through some. I'll read the summary of notable changes real quick, and then we'll work our way through some of these. We don't have to read everything word for word, but we want to touch on them. So, RRG 1.6, you can go to the FFG webpage and find it, right? They clarified some timings. They have expanded the process for attacks. They've added the stepwise process for dealing damage. What they did is they added a lot of timing charts this time around. So if you have a question of when something happens, you're going to be able to find that down through the things. They expand the find rules. They talk about, just initiating abilities. They what do you do with a card, an event when you play it, that sort of stuff. They revised referential abilities, how to interpret this. They expand on targeting rules. They revise the definition of the teamwork trait. Boo! They nerfed teamwork. it's officially in here. And then they gave us some new facts and some new errata. So
sure. Well, Steve, can I ask you a question? Like, you've been playing these types of games for these updates and these rule changes and things like that. That's just an almost absolutely obvious necessary byproduct of expanded card pools, right? I mean, like, it's not like anything went wrong necessarily. It's just you make a whole bunch of cards and things change, right?
Yeah, I think that's the case for a lot of it is as they add new traits and new abilities or they expand what things do, it's inevitable. However, I do think there have been some base flaws with some of the rules, right? Like 2 pages on the word "you" was a problem from the beginning. The way defend worked was a problem from the beginning. So there's a few of those things that I think were baked into the core set, and we've kind of worked our way through. And some of the older cards maybe, but some of the older cards might still just not work the way you think they should because they've had to fix things. So
we've had a lot of cards designed by people who are human beings, and the people in charge, the lead designers, have changed over time as well. And they have their own ways of like how they like it to be. And now we know we've got Tony, and Tony's, drilling down on certain things and saying, this is too many pages for one thing. Let's, wrap it up. Let's hone it in.
Yeah, you're right. We have Nate French, Michael Boggs, Caleb Grace, Tony Fanchi.
All fantastic.
Maxine worked on stuff. Aaron Holton worked on stuff. There's somebody named Frank has worked on stuff. There's been guest designers, other people who have worked on FFG that have, if you look in the credits, you'll see their names. So yeah, there's been a lot of people involved in the game. So some of that, just kind of comes through, I think, with, oddities. So
and then obvious things. We have new cards, player side schemes. Wasn't in the old thing, has to be put in. Like cut, dry, easy.
Players have side schemes now?
Yeah.
Yeah. What will they
Welcome.
do?
Oh yeah, Moose. So the side scheme is a player card, and it costs some resources, and you can put it into play, and there can only be so many in play based on the number of players. And then it typically has a benefit when the players clear it. It'll be like, when defeated, everybody gets to go get an ally from their deck and put it into play for free, or an upgrade for free, or a support for free. They're really good, and they do have victory points, so you can never use them more than once. But still, yeah, they're really, really powerful, and you would hate them.
Yeah, I hate them already. Why we had perfectly fine side. Why let the players pick their own side scheme? That also happens to be beneficial.
They do nothing negative when they're in play, so there's no reason not to play them.
They're just a way to soak your excess thwart.
Yes.
Yep.
No,
Yep.
For the cheaty justice players or
Are you a designer of this game? It sounds like you know what's going on.
Me? I certainly don't.
You do. All right. So, Steve, you wanted me to talk about activation?
Yeah. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'm looking at this and I've read it and I'm not quite sure what I didn't know about this before. But anyway, activation. An effect that initiates an enemy activation is considered resolved after that activation has fully resolved. Doesn't that seem to make sense?
That is a sentence.
Okay, that is sense. So it's considered resolved once it resolves?
Huh. Well, go to the next point, and maybe that will make it,
If an effect initiates an activation during the resolution of another activation, the newly initiated activation resolves after the current activation has finished resolving.
Cheat prevention.
If one is nested in the other, the nested one goes first and then to the other? Or do I have that backwards?
You finish the one you started first in.
Then go to the other. Okay.
Yeah.
So I had it back. All right.
First in, first out.
If multiple activations are initiated this way, the player decides the order in which they are resolved. Can you give me a real world scenario?
If I were to taunt you, Daniel, I have to let you do all of your stuff. I can't just go ahead and cheat and draw my 3 cards. I have to fully let you resolve that initiate, the activation, the attack that I initiated before I get my rewards at the end. I think it's just a nice way to stop people from toe-to-toeing, from taunting, cheating, and saying like, oh yeah, great, it's an attack. I'm going to deal you damage before you attack me. It's like, no. The card says they initiate an attack against you first. You don't get your special powers until you've let them have their attack.
Okay.
Right. And that was happening. People would taunt the villain and then interrupt the attack that the villain was having, do something, and basically neuter that attack. So now, nope, Once the attack is initiated, it completes. Then you get to do stuff. So
now that we have Drax, we don't have to cheat that way. Yeah. Okay. So that's one of those things that I imagine like everyone should have known that's how it was supposed to be. But,
but heroes cheat.
Just saying. All right.
Yeah.
What's next?
Attachments. We have this nice little red text at the bottom. Only the player who controls the card to which that attachment is attached can trigger abilities or pay costs on that attachment.
Wow.
Yeah. So an example I have here is from running interference. I'm all tied up, attached to your identity, attached character cannot ready or change form, and an action, spend, a nerd and a fist, discard this card. I can't call for an action from someone else. No one else can do this. It's on me, which I'd have thought seemed pretty straightforward, but, clarity.
But isn't this game supposed to be co-op?
Right, and people have been playing that way forever with these cards.
It's a co-op game.
It is a change because it used to be, and thematically, I'm all tied up. Why can't Daniel run over and untie me? No, I have to untie myself. I have to Houdini myself out of this. So it is a major change.
You can't have someone come and untie you. Like, I want to see teeth action. I want to see you dislocate a shoulder, wiggle it onto a blade. Like,
I remember this was an early argument in this game. Like, a lot of these things like obligations, right? Alter ego action. Well, can I just do that as I'm in alter for you? And for the most part, it was, because it was just an action. It didn't. So this is a definite change and very like pro-villain. I like it.
Yeah. Obligations have always been specific to the player who controls who the obligation has been given
Even
to.
Like the alter ego, like some of them, I feel like there were ways other people can take care of them. No,
yeah, no, those ones have always been specific to the player they're engaged. Let's call it engaged with. But all these other attachments were not so. We always were able to clear them for each other. Now I'm going to skip way ahead. Okay. To the errata section. There's a couple cards like the Obedience Potion and the Poison, which are from the Galactic Artifacts. We had a Pawn Sort episode about. And so like the Poison part of it reads, hero action, spend 3 resources of different types, discard this card. And in parentheses was reminder text that said any player can do this. It specifically had reminder text in italics letting you know that any player could do that to help you out. Same with Obedience Potion and stuff like that. Yeah. They have errated those cards now, and they have changed the reminder text into rules text. So it specifically now calls out any player can do this. It says, like, spend 3 resources, discard this card. Any player can do this now as part of the rule on it. So they can produce attachments now that any player can help remove, and they can create attachments that only the person who controls the card it's attached to can remove. So now they have the option to still do it, but they have to include that extra ruling on it. So
that is a very smart design.
Yep.
Future-proofing.
Or just now.
You'd think they would have thought of that the first time they came up with stuff.
Well,
yeah. I don't know. I mean, because like that theme, a lot of the cards, it felt like, why can't you untie me? Like it just made sense. But yep.
That is interesting. But yeah, this is the fourth LCG like this, right?
Right.
Anyway,
time to come up with a second edition and make all the cards obsolete.
No, they're not going to do that. All right. So what's next? Attack.
So there's a whole ton of stuff for attacks. Okay. But the big thing is they've said enemy attacks are always initiated against both a player and a character. So like the Marauders, they attack you and your Morlock, right? So like that's important. That allows you to interact with the attack that's happening. So normally the attacked character is the player's hero, but abilities can instead cause an enemy to attack a player's alter ego or an ally that player controls. In all of these cases, the player is still considered attacked. So any cards that might say, when you get attacked, do this terrible thing to the hero.
Even if it's your ally being attacked.
Even if it's your ally, right, yeah. So that'll be helpful.
So that's pro hero.
Well, it's kind of pro villain because it would allow you, like Dr. Octopus or these guys that when they attack you do something. So maybe I don't know. I don't know if it's just clarifying.
I'm thinking of the Morlocks, right? Like you can play a bunch of defense cards for them. Could you always do that? No, right?
I never thought that if an ally is attacked instead, that you are still being attacked.
No,
This is
now
totally
you
new.
are. Now you are.
And I wonder if any of the old cards were designed with that in mind. So what have they broken with this change?
Yeah, I'm curious. Go on, Steve. Sorry to interrupt.
All right, so here's like an example. There's a reason. Abilities that trigger when or after an enemy attacks you are resolved when or after a player is attacked, regardless of which character they control was attacked. Okay, so if you get attacked even if your Morlock is being attacked. For example, Ultron reads Forced Response. After Ultron attacks you, choose to either place one threat on the main scheme or put the top card of your deck into play face down, engaged with you as a drone minion. This effect resolves against the attacked player regardless of if that player used an ally to defend the attack.
That's a totally different thing, though. Like, that's different from I'm being attacked, I throw an ally in front of it, versus an ally is being attacked, and then I can do things about it. Like it's the Morlock, for example, that's being attacked, not me. Like, the game makes a big deal about that.
Yeah, now
right?
it's
different.
In that point, the card text would take precedent, though, right, Daniel? Because in that case, it's saying that it's attacking the Morlock. But
Right.
then if you decide to defend, you redirect it to you in the same way, it's like you've then stepped in front of the ally. It's like a reverse.
Steve just read is all about? It's like if I jump in front of the Morlock, then
you don't have to
right?
jump in front.
So
it's kind of the other way around. It's both. It really, what's happening is if Ultron attacks you and you defend with your minion, your ally, you still are being the one. You are still being attacked. So the trigger that says when you get attacked still goes off, even though your ally is the one taking the damage. So it's
why,
just sort of
why just say you then after Ultron attacks, comma? Because it doesn't matter what part of your board they're attacking.
it doesn't seem to, right?
Right? Why say you? So that card was clearly designed with you being something other than anyone in front of you.
And that was before that was before we got like a 2-page dissertation on what the word you meant.
Yeah, I remember that.
But here's the thing: when it says you, this is where then it comes in. Let's say that I'm shadow catting around, I'm doing my thing, and I'm defending 50 times. Well, attacking Steve over here, but I say no, I'll come and do it. Then I have to choose: am I either going to take a drone minion, or am I going to put threat on the main? And that's where it does impact me, because I either have to sacrifice a card from the top of my deck face down, because I took it from, I've re-diverted this to me. I can't,
Right.
That's where maybe the you part happens, because it's, at the end of it, it was me that got attacked, not Steve. So we don't want Steve to throw his top card down. It has to be, me. Otherwise, if it was like attacks, people would be crying about, well, wait a minute, is it when they initiate the attack? Is it where the attack finally landed? Where, which part where?
Oh, along those lines, James, did we cheat last week with the Space Pirates? Because
we probably did.
We would always absolutely cheese an ally getting attacked by them, so we didn't have to lose cards. But that's
now you have to lose cards.
Now we have to lose the cards. Like, it finally works the way you want, Daniel.
Oh, I really like this then.
Yes.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yep.
See, I just need to talk these things through as the show's everyman. I don't understand these things right at the beginning. So here we go.
Wow, pandering to our Discord people, Daniel.
That is what the everyman thinks. He just needs it talked out. Real live examples.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We probably would have lost then completely. We got hit by 1,007 Space Pirates, James.
Yeah, they're tough.
They would have taken our whole deck.
Yeah, we did.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
And then he gave us a timing chart for after an attack resolves. So the triggering things in order, and I used to play this wrong. Retaliate triggers first if the attack character is not defeated. Then forced abilities with the following triggers in any order. After a character attacks and damages you, or attacks or defeats an ally, whatever. Then after character is attacked, and after character defends and takes no damage, and then non-forced abilities with the triggers. So retaliate, forced abilities, and there's a little chart, and then non-forced abilities. So when an attack finishes. So you're really doing that retaliate, because it is a keyword. So that goes first before forced abilities. I was always doing retaliate the very last thing. So
if they survive the hit back kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. So if they survive the hit back, then you trigger into the abilities. So since those static keywords always take precedence, it looks like. So okay.
You're shaking your head. Is it out of anger or is just
no?
Okay.
I'm just I'm nodding. I'm not shaking.
Oh,
I'm nodding.
That's an interesting way of nodding. Okay.
One quick thing about enemy activation before we jump on, just because I don't want it to be misunderstood from before as well. When we were talking back about the effect initiating an enemy activation. I know Steve, you'd said about how you can't neuter the attack. Like you can still do all of your defensy things to reduce the amount of damage dealt, but you still have to resolve that. Like that's all I wanted to make sure was clear to the people. It's like you can still do all your defendy things, that's fine, but you're not going to get your freebie until you've let the villain do their thing. Yeah, including your defenses and what other silly things you want to do.
It seems to me that they've made everything so complicated that, like, if say a 14-year-old and their friend decided to get into this game, they would have a really hard time.
Well,
it used to be pretty easy.
Or they don't care about.
At the top, you said you have to play by the rules and read all the cards.
No. Only nerds play it like that.
I mean, if I go and buy a new box today, I'm still just getting like the regular printed rules book, right?
Yeah,
I'm still getting the one where I have to exhaust to defend, right? So they'll be fine. It'll just be
I don't know what's included in the box. Depends on when that box was made.
Okay, I got one last question about this then. I'm Mike, and I'm playing my protection deck but I accidentally have an ally somehow. My ally defends. Can I still trigger all my stuff like I took no damage and stand up all those cards?
I don't think so.
Is that a different company in this case?
I think that's different.
Okay.
You didn't defend in that situation. Are you talking like if for cards that trigger, like if you defend and take no damage, you didn't defend, your ally
do they all say if you defend and take no damage? Okay.
Yeah, because they're defense. Yeah, the defense action cards.
Yeah. Great. All right.
But an attack is initiated against you the player.
Right. So then if my ally jumps in front of it, I didn't take damage.
The ally defended. Yes. Yeah, but you can't play. But once you play that defense card, you're now the defender, not your ally. So now you got to switch the target.
And different cards trigger off of very specific things. I feel like they even, kind of helped you out with the whilst thing, Daniel, and the while thing. But, we'll save that for later.
James.
Whoa, come on, James. Come on.
They touched upon it.
No, they didn't.
I think I left it out of the show notes.
They've always sinned against a while. Well, let's have Muslim tell us about consequential damage.
Consequential damage is something that has a star next to it. If the target of an ally's basic power leaves play before that ally deals damage equal to its attack or removes threat equal to its thwart, the ally does not take consequential damage. Oh, interesting. But still exhausts. Oh, I remember consequential damage. That's how allies
they
go away. I see. That ally is not considered to have attacked or thwarted for the purpose of other abilities.
Okay.
For example, Iron Fist ability reads, interrupt. When Iron Fist attacks an enemy, remove one mystic counter, stun that enemy, and deal 1 damage. If this effect defeats the enemy Iron Fist was attacking, the basic attack aborts as soon as the target leaves play, so Iron Fist does not take consequential damage from it.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, it's not cool. It's tragic.
But you still stun the enemy before you defeat it.
But
it's a wasted stun. Yeah. But, okay. That's cool.
But it is one bit that I guess, the allies get, I guess. 1 win for the allies.
Yep, throwing the heroes a bone.
How often does this happen? Like Iron Fist, I can only imagine like a couple situations where this had to have come up for somebody for this rule to be put in.
Yeah, right? Like,
yeah. Yep.
Who else does some? Quake does stuff that could kill somebody. I don't know, but like,
not when she's using the basic.
A different timing thing, yeah.
Like Psylocke with that whole ping thing that I've not been, or is Psylocke's after she does her first hit?
Does it have to be an ability on the ally? Can some other ability come in and defeat the target?
Yeah, maybe.
Cards.
Yep.
If something happens down the line that causes that to happen, I can't think of anything now, but if it does, I guess you save consequential.
Right. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
It's a weenie success. They can have that.
Yeah, they can have that. It's rare. All right, Daniel, back around to cost for you.
Yeah, okay. All right, the red on cost. Text indicating the timing of an interrupt or response trigger that precedes a cost arrow is not considered part of the cost. Okay, all right. A resource cost with the per player icon is multiplied by the number of players who started the scenario. They never clarified that until now?
Until now.
We always played it that way.
I think we always played okay, interesting. That might be a Lord of the Rings vestige thing because that's how it was. Per player things.
The per player thing is true for villain's hit points and threat on the main scheme, but not for costs because they have added cards that now have per player costs. So I think they had
the side scheme thing all over again.
Yep. If a cost with the per player icon is reduced, the total cost of the card is reduced, not the value that is multiplied by the number of players. Okay. All right. Then, while a player is paying a cost, that player must pay costs with cards and or game elements they control. If a cost uses the word choose, the player can choose targets they do not control. I don't think I understand that. Okay.
I think are there cards that say like choose choose a number of allies and exhaust them to do this thing? Because then you could choose allies controlled by your buddy across the table.
Isn't that that leadership card that you
can you grief people with it?
It might say cards you control on those cards. I guess it depends on we'd have to go through each one of those cards because their card always takes precedent over this, right? So we'll have to go and look and see.
Choose just on its own means everything. Okay. Yeah. All right. If dealing damage is a cost, that cost is considered paid even if some or all of that damage is prevented. And if taking damage is a cost, that cost is not considered paid unless all that damage was taken. Can you guys give some real world examples of that stuff?
If I have a tough status on my blue person and I use clarity of purpose, actually no, does clarity say deal or take? Oh, maybe clarity says take. Where's Cerebro when I need it?
If the cost is you have to Miss Marvel, maybe ally. If the cost is deal damage to something,
okay,
you can prevent the damage. If the cost is take damage, you must actually put the damage on your card. Dealing and taking are different.
Right, so you can't say I'm going to take damage while I have tough, and then not take damage
by using the tough.
So clarity of purpose, as an example, says deal 1 damage. You can have a tough status card and you can protect yourself that because you are still dealing 1 damage in the direction of that tough. If it were to say take a damage, you can't take the damage because you got a tough. So you can exhaust it, but maybe you can't because the valid target rule,
Okay.
So an example of the taking damage is the Venom hero. Resource, take 1 damage, generate a wild resource. If he is tough, he can't take the damage. So he can't generate the resource. So it's kind of the opposite of clarity of purpose, right? Clarity of purpose says deal it. Venom says take. So,
exactly.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
So talking about damage, Darcy, you're up. Damage.
Ooh, this is a big one. The 10 Commandments of damage. The order of resolution for effects surrounding the dealing and taking of damage are as follows. Number 1, abilities that trigger when character, and that's in parentheses, would deal or be dealt any amount of damage, ... Then you have tough status cards as number 2. Number 3 is abilities that trigger when, character in parentheses, would take any amount of damage. Then we have abilities that trigger when character takes any amount of damage. Oh boy. Placing of damage on the character is number 5. Number 6, abilities that trigger when character in parentheses would be defeated. 7, abilities that trigger when character is defeated. When defeated abilities. 8, that was 8. 9, discarding a defeated character. And then finally, abilities that trigger after deal is dealt. I was going to wind that back and say that much nicer than reading it as it's written. The first thing that happens is when a character would be dealt is the first part of any of these abilities that can go. The next thing that happens is a tough status card is going to get in the way of anything that's going on. After that, when you would take damage is going to trigger. Then when the character takes any amount of damage would trigger. Then the damage being placed on the character triggers. Then abilities about when the character would be defeated they trigger. Then it's abilities that trigger when character is defeated.
It's would probably be an interrupt, and then when is probably a response. Yeah,
Lord.
They're about to be defeated, and then they are defeated. So look at the table, read the table if you're in doubt.
Please don't read this table out loud to friends or other people, or on a podcast.
Or on a podcast,
Don't read this on a podcast. This is awful, awful content.
Make sure you read this every time you teach this game to a new player, everybody. Yeah.
I'm going to get this posted on 2 stone tablets, 5x5.
Now I'm wondering if we did cheat it with the Space Pirates, because they do say in their cards when you're dealt damage.
But yeah, dealing and taking a different thing.
Right. So if you don't take damage, you don't have to get rid. Oh, God.
Right. If the Space Pirates is, I haven't looked at them in a while. If it's after you get attacked, then you might have cheated. If it's after you take damage from an attack, then you probably didn't cheat. So.
I think it's after you take
So like the minion, a pirate lackey. Yeah, pirate lackey, forced response. So first we have to look at when forced response comes in. And this is I know it's a pain, but this is a nice thing with the timing charts, right? If you really want to know, you're probably not going to remember the whole rule book because it's humongorongus. So go look at the timing charts. Pirate lackey Daniel says after this minion attacks and damages you.
You're fine if you threw an ally in the way. You're okay.
Yeah. Remove the top card of your deck from the game. And we absolutely just threw people out there.
Yeah. You're okay. You didn't cheat.
Yeah, we didn't cheat. I feel good about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on.
Find. Okay, so this is a fun one. So they added a whole bunch of stuff. So when instructed to find a card, a player searches each game area where that card could be found. Play area, set aside area, player deck, discard pile, encounter deck, etc. So now there's a whole bunch of bullet points. Players should not unnecessarily search game areas if they know where the card they are looking for can be found.
Amazing.
But if you know it's in the discard pile, don't go search the deck just so you can shuffle it or count what's left in there.
What if you make yourself forget?
I mean, if you legitimately don't know, that's one thing, right?
I forgot.
You're probably already cheating and playing Deadpool and decided to take a break for like 25 minutes to heal health. So you're already cheating, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So do it. Why not?
Yeah. So if you know where it is, go get it where it is first and leave everything else alone. Okay. All game areas are subject to search when resolving a find instruction with the following exceptions. Okay. So you're going to look in every place when you're told to find something except for face down encounter cards, the victory display, and cards that have been removed from the game. So victory display, cards have been removed from the game. I kind of almost always treat them as the same thing. And then face down encounter cards is the only place you're not going to go look if something tells you to find it. Then if a player is instructed to find and reveal, this one's fun, find and reveal a minion that is already in play. That player engages that minion and resolves any keywords and or triggered abilities that resolve as a result of a minion being revealed, such as that minion's when revealed ability.
Is that true if you're already engaged with them? Oh, I see that third. I think I just read the third. Yeah, I just read the third.
It is not.
Okay.
If they are already engaged with that player, I feel like this is the thing that I'm hearing the most going around in is people feeling like, oh, they came in with quick strike. Oh, now they quick strike me again. It's like, no, that's when they engage you. You're already engaged, and it says, unfortunately, unless it was already engaged with that player.
Okay, wait. What am I missing? Okay, let me finish reading. That minion retains all attachments and tokens on it. That minion is not considered to be entering play. That minion is considered to engage that player unless it was already engaged with that player. But if it was not engaged with you, if Omega Red was engaged with Daniel, and I'm supposed to go find Omega Red, I move Omega Red from his play area over to mine and trigger any of his when revealed abilities or whatever. I've just been engaged with him. He's a terrible example.
All of his attachments, he keeps all of his stuff. He just wanders right over to you, which is great.
A better example is that pirate lackey who has quick strike, because quick strike triggers when you are engaged, when that minion engages you. So I have to find that pirate lackey, put it in front of me, and it quick strikes me. So
it does not.
So
it doesn't though. Last bullet.
That minion is considered to engage that player unless it was already engaged with that player.
Oh, I see. So if it was in front of Daniel, he. What if there are multiple copies of a minion in a deck?
I go find
and one is in play and the other is in the deck.
Well, I should not unnecessarily search game areas if I know where that card could be found. So I probably should steal the one in front of Daniel and move it over to me.
What if you never looked at what's in front of Daniel and you don't know?
I don't know.
Anyway, sorry.
I don't know. No, honestly,
then I guess you're in luck or you're out of luck.
Yeah. That's actually a good question because
I remember there are minions that come in multiple copies.
Yep. Yeah. There's a couple pirate lack. I mean, there's 3 pirate lackeys. That's a good explanation. You could maybe go get that pirate.
It does. No, it does say. I mean, I think if you follow the first part of the bullet point, if a player is instructed to find and reveal a minion that is already in play, that player engages that minion. I mean, I would take that because it's the very first part of the bullet point to mean if there's one already on the table, you just slide them on over instead of having to go search for a new one, I would think, but they could probably clarify it a bit more. But it does say find and reveal a minion that's already in play. It engages that minion. It sounds like you shouldn't go looking anywhere else.
Yeah, I think you're right. Interesting.
They could clarify it further, but they'd have to add 5 more bullet points.
5 more bullet
And that
points,
might make
at
it
least.
another page.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, you can also see it as anti-villain because instead of having 2 pirate lackeys on the table, you still have 1.
One.
This is
Yeah.
true.
I think you're right. Yeah. I'm gonna have to ask around.
Yeah.
Abilities that cause a player to draw 1 or more cards always have a valid target, so long as that player has at least 1 card in their deck. Okay, there you go. A target is valid for an ability or game function if any part of that ability can affect that target. Examples include but are not limited to. I hate it when they write that. Include always means not limited to. Anyway.
That's true.
Dealing healing damage, adding removing threat, giving removing a status card, exhausting readying the target, defeating discarding the target. Exception to the examples. A character with an attack, scheme or thwart of 0 can perform an activation or basic power using that value against a target that is otherwise valid for that activation or basic power. For example, a hero with thwart of 0 can perform a basic thwart against a scheme with threat on it. There you go.
Yeah, there's one update or one clarifying point for that one, that if you're doing one of those hit and run cards, it's an attack and a thwart card. You are attacking and thwarting at the same time. You are doing both at the same time. So if you are stunned, you are attack thwarting. You don't get to do your thwart, which is great. That's great. You don't get to do your thwart because you don't get to do your attack thwart. It's all one thing. Whereas the downside to this, but I suppose fair is fair, is if you are stunned and confused, you get to remove both because you are stun thwarting, all at the same time. You're not thwarting, then stunning, thwarting, then attacking, or vice versa. You're doing it all simultaneously. So just a good thing to remember. And I should say quickly as a shout out both to V. Jackson and other people that I've got to play with, like Joji locally to me, and Caldeus as well, because I am not smart enough to know what happens with the rules. I absolutely asked other people before popping in today. So that's my one shout out. Sorry, carrying on.
No, that's good. That's like Gamora's cross counter card is an attack, a defense, and a thwart. So yeah, you're right. If you are stunned and you go to use it, you do not get any of it, but you get to clear any of the status effects.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like this first one maybe should go to Moose.
Yeah, I think so
Just
too.
because
Go
of who
for
it is.
Moose.
Yeah. She-Hulk is used to be my favorite too.
You'll love
She's
this
my
one.
favorite.
Yeah,
She's my
still-
favorite too.
Yeah. Focused Rage. If She-Hulk has a tough status card, can she use Focused Rage to draw a card? The answer is no. And we can move on. It should have been obvious.
But this comes back to that taking one again, right? Here's a perfect example of what we were talking about.
Yeah, so I'll keep reading that. The tough card prevents She-Hulk from taking 1 damage, so the ability's cost cannot be paid, and because you cannot partially pay a cost, you cannot attempt to pay the cost of Focused Rage's ability just to remove She-Hulk's tough status card.
But Mustafa, if She-Hulk attacks an enemy that cannot be stunned because it's already stunned or is stalwart, does Superhuman Strength Force Interrupt resolve?
No, it does not.
Oh.
Because the effect of Superhuman Strength's Forced Interrupt cannot affect the attacked enemy. The effect cannot resolve, and therefore Superhuman Strength is not discarded.
Oh, that's good.
Ooh, that is so hero biased. What do you mean that's
Yeah,
good?
It is. Just keep your Superhuman Strength and keep attacking somebody who's down. Very heroic.
Yeah.
And keeps kicking them. And you can keep your Superhuman Strength. It doesn't go away.
Which gives you that +2 static attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the real problem with it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really against the stalwart ones, right? Like, steady a bit, but it's really the stalwart ones that all of a sudden she's like,
she's hitting for 2 more every time.
Being stalwart, you'd think was a good thing, but no, not if you're facing She-Hulk. It's a bad thing.
Well, all right.
I guess. Fine. Like she couldn't pick somebody who's not stalwart to attack.
And it's not like Jen ever needed help with damage in the first place. She was kind of okay for damage.
There's 2 of those in her set. So, and they're not unique. They're not restricted. She can put them both out and be just punching these stalwart guys for +4 every time. It's crazy.
Do you even lift? You look too stalwart to be lifting.
Yeah, you're too strong.
Next, we'll have a player upgrade that makes someone stalwart, and then you'll really be laughing.
Yeah, that could be a player side scheme that comes with She-Hulk.
Yeah.
The villain gains stalwart.
Make enemies stalwart.
Yeah, the villain gains stalwart, but you probably get like 2 extra cards.
We should stop giving FFG ideas.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah.
Assault. If assault causes the villain to attack me, and there is only 1 card left in the encounter deck, is assault in the encounter discard pile when the discard pile is shuffled into the encounter deck after the villain is given a boost card? No. Assault is not discarded until it finishes resolving, which happens when the villain's attack has been resolved. So it will be like the first card in the discard pile. It doesn't get shuffled back in. It's still out there in the ether.
That's true of every card, though, right? They're not discarded until they've done their thing.
Right. They now have there's a table in there that we didn't read where it's like that event gets put out and play, and you do all the stuff, and then when all the stuff is finished, then it goes into the discard pile.
Right, because aren't you supposed to put the event, say, on the table, and then you throw all your resource cards into the discard pile as the cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the event goes on top when it's all done?
Yep.
Right? So
I think that's right.
Why is this specifically for assault? What am I missing?
I must have just been an easy question. So
okay.
Yeah.
Or is it because I guess because there's no boost card.
Boost cards.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So it has to be shuffled. Yeah.
Can attack acrobatics cancel 0 boost icons, Daniel?
No, Mustafa, they can't, because attack acrobatics cannot be used to cancel the boost icons in a card that has none, as there is no valid target for the ability.
Okay. There you go. You can cancel a 0.
Right. But then why would you ever want to? There's a great question.
Trigger
to trigger your 1 damage you
trigger
get?
your but if it's the 1 damage you need.
End the game at a right time. Okay.
Well, and then not only did you trigger the attack acrobatics, and then you could trigger your suit, so you could ready Black Widow, you could ping for damage. Yeah.
Fine. Okay.
Here's a nice clarification.
Okay.
Widow's Bite.
Sure.
If I have Widow's Bite in play and I reveal a minion with Quick Strike, which one resolves first?
Oh.
Just say this.
Quick Strike.
Yeah.
Triggers when a minion engages a player, and minions enter play engages the player who revealed them. Thus, Mustafa, Quick Strike and the response on Widow's Bite have the same timing trigger. Keywords have timing priority over response abilities, so Quick Strike resolves first. Now, I guarantee folks were not playing it that way ever.
No.
Especially when
not
you
for
bring
a
up
long time.
Because Hawkeye was always like, even if you had any rules questions about this, everyone would say, well, Hawkeye's thing, it just kills them right when they show up.
Yeah.
But that is not true anymore.
How can you not shoot somebody coming to strike you with an arrow before they actually strike you?
Especially if you're Hawkeye.
Who can apparently shoot an arrow behind himself without looking.
He's probably waking up barely sober with pizza on his shirt. Like, he can't shoot anything.
Yeah.
Can't hear. He's
Yeah, so the
obviously
Hawkeye
as a villain, I like this rule, but
it also affects the new Iceman ally too. He has the same wording, same after minion damage play trigger. So
we
get
Quick Strike hits as it enters play rather than when it engages.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Hero who's suffering. Haha. Good. Okay.
Take that, heroes. All right.
Everyone's crying about this one hard though. Like, everyone's crying about it. I get it. Like, I get it for Widow's Bite. I'm pretty sure it was probably intended to stop said minion, but it's kind of nice that it doesn't.
Yeah, because some of these minions with Quick Strike have 2 health, right? So like they never get to do anything. Yeah.
But I get that, like, but it was a preparation. I prepared for this. It's like, I get it. That was the intent, but I don't know.
I would not be surprised if this rule gets reversed in the next one.
Just ignored by a lot of players.
Or just completely ignored by everyone who doesn't read these things. Or the 3 people on Earth who don't listen to us. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure we're not the only ones talking about the RRG. So by the time our show comes out, there's probably like 50 people on YouTube have already gone through this. So,
all right.
Darcy, why don't you ask a question?
Okay, right. So let me posit this to you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's about card number 149, but I'll remind you of what that is. It's the Power Stone. If a character with the Power Stone is dealt 3 or more damage, but does not take 3 or more damage due to damage prevention, does the attacker get the Power Stone attached to them?
Yes, they do. Because damage prevention does not reduce the amount of damage dealt. Note that a hero making a basic defense reduces the amount of damage dealt by that hero's defense stat. So defending an attack can prevent the Power Stone from being taken.
You know, this led me to realize that I never read defending in the rules guide, and I have been completely misinterpreting what defending, like a basic defense, is actually doing. I always just assumed that defending, you know, me like muscling up and turning my back on something, my desperate defense, is decreasing the amount I'm taking. I didn't think it really changed the power of what the villain was delivering to me. But that's not true. My defense is changing what they're dealing. Which,
and that's the only way, I think, other than there are a few other cards like there's that one green card that like just says they get -2 to their attack stat or something like that. That would mean they're dealing less damage, but otherwise, yeah. I don't know. I feel like if you fully block an attack, the Power Stone shouldn't move, right? With like a tough or something, but nope, off it goes.
Off it goes.
Off it goes. So it's going to bounce back and forth a lot more, so the villain will probably end up with it a lot more. So that's okay.
I feel bad for those people who play with the Power Stone.
Everyone's thinking, how many times am I playing with the Power Stone?
I know, right? I'm going to have to go play with it now. Okay, this one's for me. We're almost done with these FAQs. Spider, this is Warrior of the Great Web. Can the Spider, aka Penny Parker, hero or ally have Warrior of the Great Web attached? And the answer is no, because a character's title must contain the exact spelling of the word spider, spelled exactly SPIDER, not SP//DR in a different language. So it can't be attached. I don't like that. I like Penny Parker. I like the Spider Hero. I know. But like, that stinks. She's definitely a Warrior of the Great Web in all themes, in all the comics. It's cheap.
I think this is just boneheaded nitpicking to the nth degree that is completely unnecessary. Who cares?
Yeah, I think the only thing could be is when they do foreign language translations. I don't know, right? They must use the spider specifically as the English version of that. I don't know.
What if they're using different characters, say writing in kanji in Japanese script?
Yeah,
When I spell out SPIDER.
Yeah, what happens when I bring my French cards to the table? Spider.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's not spider.
Yeah.
That's wonky.
Yep. Cheap.
But the character's title must contain the word spider. Like,
exactly.
Wow.
Exactly
So,
spelled.
I haven't played this game
never
for years.
touch anything with my typing and spelling.
I am not going to play this game, but I'm calling on all 2 listeners of this show to completely ignore this stupidity and just not play with it. It's silly. It's silly.
Steve is with you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I feel reluctant to say play the game you want to play because you'll all go off and start making Arkham Horror decks to the side and you won't do the podcast anymore. So, don't play the game you want to play, but I mean, yeah, she's a spider. Why not?
Absolutely.
Because the Web Warriors aren't powerful enough, so sure, why not?
I know.
Yeah, give her that.
All right, we got another FAQ here for Daniel for Melisse.
Melisse. Steve, is Melisse still a minion while she's attached to an ally?
Yeah, she is.
Oh, okay. Is there anything else you want to say about that?
Sure. So while she's attached to an ally, she retains the minion card type. She retains any damage that's been put on her. She can be attacked and targeted by card abilities, including attachments, like any minion can be. But she cannot be defeated again, even if she gains hit points or heals damage. That's odd. So why do I care if there's damage on her if she can't be defeated again? She's not considered engaged with a player and so cannot activate. And she is discarded when the card to which she attached leaves play. But she's still a minion. So okay.
Is that simply there in case you have a card that says discard a minion?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. That's the only thing I could think of, like why that you would need those 27 bullet points to say she's a minion still.
Oh, like if you brought out Nova Prime, you're playing Star-Lord, and it's like, discard a non-elite minion. You could like get rid of Malice.
You could get rid of that, right?
Are there cards that say when you damage a minion, do X?
Probably, yeah.
So then you could damage that.
You could
card
damage
if you
that
had
card
no other
if you had no
minions.
other. Okay.
And go on and on and on because she can't be defeated again, so you can just keep going. Whoa.
Just keep punching them like those stunned
Broken.
people in front of She-Hulk.
Okay.
Oh God.
Let's keep
All right.
moving here. Next one. Honey Badger.
Steve, can Honey Badger's response be triggered if the damage defeats her?
No. And I've been saying that all along. Now, by the time
No.
Honey Badger's response would trigger, she's already dead, so she can't trigger it.
Memorize your timing charts, kids.
Learn your charts. You have to learn your charts. If you don't, they will eat you in your sleep. Ow.
What? Whoa.
Wow.
Quality
Wow.
minion.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's for the Office fans out there.
Rule 17. Don't turn your back on bears, men you have wronged, or the dominant turkey during mating season. There are 40 rules all Shroot boys must learn before the age of 5. Learn your rules. You better learn your rules. If you don't, you'll be eaten in your sleep.
All right, Daniel.
Yeah. Tell me.
When Magic with a K plays the top card of her deck.
This is Gandalf. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. At what point is the next card in her deck turned face up?
That's a great question. When playing the top card of her deck, which is the same process as playing a card from hand, Magic moves the card she's playing to the table in front of her during, step 3 of the process outlined in the initiating ability section of this rules reference. I'm sure you memorized it.
Of course.
As soon as she does this, she turns the new top card of her deck face up. So they took 150 words to say,
Right away.
when you move the card off of the deck, put the next
Instantly.
one face up. Yeah. So basically, she always has a card face up on top.
They must have hired some unemployed attorneys to go through this, and not just any attorneys, like maybe tax attorneys or corporate attorneys.
Yeah, I know, because that, I think I can say this in 75 words.
Yeah, because I'm getting paid by the word. Okay, but can Magic play the top card of her deck using an ability that says play a card from your hand?
Oh no, that's
Such a team building exercise?
Well,
Okay.
You know what? You don't mean Ant-Man number 24, do you, Steve?
I do.
Oh, okay. Yes, Moosty. Anytime Magic has an opportunity to play a card from her hand, she may choose to play the top card of her deck instead, but only once per phase.
Okay.
How many hours are we in? Because at this point, is anyone still listening to reading out rules?
Nobody's listening.
Nobody's
we can just
listening.
say whatever we want. Actually, we can say no. And no, Magic can't do that. It's just not allowed.
Yeah, let's actually make up rules. Let's,
All right. Well, I'll
let's
keep going.
unread
I'll
this
keep going
document.
about Magic and what
Yeah,
she can
please.
do. Can Magic
Okay.
resolve an ability that triggers after you play card from your hand, such as Pixie, Storm 17, if she plays that card from the top of her deck?
Well, yeah. When Magic plays a card from the top of her deck, that card is considered to have been played from her hand.
I think I heard that before.
Yeah, that's-
Maybe in the last 3 times I asked you that question.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm going to ask you one more question.
One more.
Please ask me about the top card in my deck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can Magic put the top card of her deck
Oh.
into play as if it were in her hand? As if it were, it should have been, but they wrote was because they
Okay.
clearly don't know English. Such as with Mutant Protectors, Mutant Genesis number 17.
I bet you're expecting me to say yes, because I said
yeah.
yes about every other question you've asked about this.
Yeah.
But you know what? No. Putting a card into play is not the same thing as playing a card. You knew that
I
from
knew.
all games.
Right.
And Magic's ability only allows her to play the top card of her deck, not put it into play.
OMG.
Hey.
There you have it.
We made it through the FAQ.
Yay.
No, folks, 3 hours later, it's the errata.
Yeah, and we're gonna go through these a little quicker. All right.
Sure.
They a while back they errated MODOK to have the periods in between the M, the O, the D, the O, and the K because that's the way it's supposed to be, right? Because so they errated his side schemes and the rest of the cards in a set to also say they should have the dots in them. So because it was like if MODOK is in play, but it was targeting now the wrong thing because they changed one card but not all of them, so they changed it. Woo,
Wow.
very important.
Fair is fair.
Wow.
It's why you
So-
can't use Spider for the Warrior of
Yeah,
the Great Web.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And there were nerds out there who were like, well, this MODOK doesn't have the dots.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Not the same MODOK.
losers.
Okay, and apparently Twisted Reality number 135, I have no idea what this is, should read, forced interrupt when attached side scheme is defeated, deal the first player an encounter card, change forced response to forced interrupt, because,
Nice.
Timing matters.
Timing. Yeah, it matters.
Yes.
An obedience potion. Yeah. Obedience potion and poison, both the same kind of thing. We just took that any player can do this out of parentheses and instead put it on there, meaning in the future, maybe other players can't do it for future cards.
So let me read Venom here, because Venom 1, 2, and 3, they've eroded effectively. They have changed the when you attack and damage Venom with a card you control to when you or an ally you control attacks and damages Venom. So only you or an ally doing an attack. I don't know what other cards you would have that were doing attacks. Like, you're not really attacking with supports. I don't know why it was that important, but they did that.
Future proof.
No, so before it didn't count when you used an ally. Oh no, yeah, damage with the card you control.
It did.
Sorry, my bad. It did. It just interesting.
It's not supports anymore. So
You like spiders.
Well, wait a minute, Steve. Like, there are upgrades and such that deal damage, so that wouldn't work.
upgrades are you,
Upgrades are me? Okay, so, all right.
and events are you. So yeah.
All right,
I don't
so
know.
really it is support. So someday they'll make a support that...
Oh, and side schemes,
Wait.
I guess.
Doesn't Evo...
Right, side schemes.
Doesn't Evo come with a support or whatever? Or
Oh, yeah,
is
Evo is.
Evo is a support.
That's right. Evo
and
is
he
a
can deal
support that can
damage
deal
to a
damage.
thing, right?
Yeah, Phantom X's little support. You're right. So there's one card there.
There you go. Somehow someone beat Venom with that card, and they had to make this rule.
One ping at a time.
And the Justice side scheme, Lay the Trap, that does like 5 damage per player to the villain. That's not you or an ally you control. So, okay.
But is that not... That's a support?
It's a side scheme.
Side
Player
scheme.
side scheme.
Side scheme.
Player side scheme. Yep.
All right, I like it. All right, good for them. Hero,
Yeah.
that helps the hero, or that helps the villains, I mean.
Yeah.
We love
sure.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They eroded Penny, so her stuff goes on her instead of her suit. It just never made sense before. Anyways, I just reread that one. It's very confusing, but also intuitive at the same time.
You know what I wish they did here, Steve, was they would have eroded her card to say that she has the spider title. But anyway,
Yep.
That's what they needed to do here. All right.
Yeah. Daniel, the next one's for Mike. Where's Mike?
The Storm Hero Pack, Claustrophobia.
Yeah.
Should read, flip to alter ego form. You cannot change to hero form. Change forms to change to hero form. Oh,
Ooh,
okay.
yeah, eh?
Somehow you can still change your weather forms, right? Or is that not? They're not forms. They're a deck.
They're like
I don't know if
its
it matters.
own deck. So I
don't know if it matters.
I think. Well, when is it only her hero that you can change what weather is?
Yeah, I think you're right.
So that's why you can't change to. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Possessed. It should read, when revealed, attached to the ally with the lowest thwart without possessed attached. Attached ally engages its controller, and if you cannot, this card gains surge, and they added the attached ally engages its controller. So now it's not just that it's kind of clarifying that you didn't just, throw this on and they became a minion. They did actually engage its controller.
Okay. And finally, from the Gambit Hero Pack, Psionic Shield should read, force interrupt. When attached minion would leave play, instead heal all damage from that minion, then discard this attachment. They removed and put it back into play. Okay.
Just a replacement effect. You said in finally, but not in finally.
Your page breaks.
this one-
Your page breaks are insane, Steve. In the show notes, that was so much blank text.
Yeah.
Oh, and I just realized that Widow's Bite doesn't hit for Possessed, does it? Because it didn't enter play. It just engaged them. Oh,
Right.
Doesn't work for that either. Oh, well.
But
Thank you,
it's
Steve.
neuter.
Yeah,
So there's an inhibitor caller coming up next. It's the same deal. Any player can do this is now a text, rules text, not a reminder text. I got one done in like 3 seconds. Go.
Stolen from Darcy because for a long time James was wearing an inhibitor collar.
Yeah.
I
thought he still
fancy.
was. No?
What he does in his private life is none of my business, please.
Yep. Took my damage. My one's off. Damage my one's off.
A frontline specialist should read your identity. Your identity gets +4 hit points. They changed hero to identity. So if you were playing it as written previously,
That's great.
your hero got 4 hit points, and you'd flip to alter ego, and you should lose 4 hit points.
That's brilliant. Yeah. That's great.
Can't believe I missed that. Home to get Aunt May's soup?
Yes, but they fixed it.
That's flipping brilliant.
This is a great prequel for if we do decide to touch the one-shots or the weekly challenges.
Another pro hero errata that was completely unnecessary and not thematic. Your alter ego is not in the front lines, so they shouldn't get anything.
That's true. I agree.
Yeah, you're right.
I really like how
they should stay in the front lines where the specialist is. And if you leave the specialist to go home,
you're not a specialist.
You're done.
Anymore.
You're going home in a stretcher. I have no idea what I'm saying, but I'm saying it.
No, you're absolutely right.
You're right. I think you're right. I agree.
Mike, Steve, tell me about Poolized.
Poolized, they just did the same thing. Attached ally engages its controller. So it's the same thing as above.
All right.
Yep. And if you are Deadpool and you had the +4 hit points, it would still kill you, right? You flip down, it would still kill you.
Yeah, too bad.
All right. Last one, James. Last one.
Okay, Age of Apocalypse expansion, Mission Team 171A. The first bullet should read, reduce the cost of the next ally played to the mission this phase by 2. So they added this phase. I'm never playing those missions again anyway, so that's fine. Yeah. Do what you want. Yeah. It's fine.
We finished RRG 1.6.
Well, what are your general thoughts about it, guys?
Overall,
I like it.
Some needed change, some needed updates, some needed clarifications, and then just a lot of other stuff that they just had to do.
Steve, in your opinion, as a pro player of this game, what were the most essential parts of this change?
I think activation has to finish, so you don't get to cheese anything. The way attachments work now, I think that's an important bit. I think clarifying find is good. And I just like when they answer questions, FAQs that folks have. I think that's nice. I like to have all those FAQs in an official FFG document. I know you can go out to like Hall of Heroes and they've collected a lot of the stuff, but that's like FFG responding to somebody's email and then the email being sent to Hall of Heroes and Mag is collating it there, which is great. But it's still like this third party sort of thing. So I like that FFG has it in one spot. Because if you are a player of the game, maybe you're somewhat casual. You're not checking random other web pages, right? But you might go to the FFG page. You might search FFG thing. Like we play Imperial Assault, and when we have a question, we go and we look up. We look for rules. We don't find it on forums or other pages. We're looking for the PDFs that have been updated. So I think it's good. I think they need to do that. The errata's not bad. The FAQ is good.
I've got one little piece of good news, bad news, but it does point out one little flaw in the rules booklet if you've got it pulled up. If anyone wants to go quickly to page 24 and look at the teamwork situation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So the good news is if you still want to play teamwork, whereby, if at least one of the minions shares the specified trait and they all activate, you still can. Because they did not update page 24, but they did update page 40.
So only read page 24. Don't go all the way to page 40.
Page 24. And if you're losing and you're a loser, then sure, go to page 40. Why not?
So the RRG needs an errata or an update for itself.
Which I feel bad saying because I love the game. It's unfortunate, but it's so much for them to keep on top of. It's not like every person reading this knows every single rule update, so they probably just proofed it, looks right, hits print. It's so much to keep on top of.
Yeah, and in real life, if you're just playing this game and you're not looking at these types of things, you're just reading cards and you're gonna be okay. You're gonna have a fine time, and you'll probably win.
Until some jerk tells you on the podcast that you cheated.
Yeah, that's right. So, in the grand scheme of things, I think about what's on your mind tonight, Moose.
Yeah,
this kind of stuff really is
very in the noise.
Yes, yeah.
You're lucky enough to be playing this game.
There you go.
Really,
thank you.
In any version.
An absolute luxury in life. Card games and time.
Yeah.
Although my thought is they need a revised edition now because they have to reissue all the cards with their erratas on them and simplify the 10 steps of taking damage to maybe 3.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
Well, speaking about playing the game and having time, let's dump off the RRG and talk about these weekly one-shots that have been going on now for, well, at this point for quite a few weeks, but at the time of this recording, only 2. Have you guys seen these? Have you played them? What are your thoughts? Mustafa, you go first.
No idea what you're talking about.
Awesome. I knew that was going to be a quick one. How about you, Daniel?
I have not. I've read all of them. I like the ideas of them. I think they're interesting. I have not done them.
Okay. James?
In honor of finding out about the podcast a mere few hours ago, I played them both very quickly.
Oh, you played them both. Okay.
I played them both. And anytime that anyone wants to, like, I do solo Champions League, and I've realized it brings out the worst in me, which I'm trying to get better about, where I all of a sudden now actually care about trying to min-max my games, which is not my thing. I just like playing this game. I need to stop trying to play the league that way. And so I have mixed feelings. On the one hand, we've just gone through a whole goblin cycle. I didn't really want to see mutagen formula again, but here we are.
That's our favorite scenario.
I remember that.
Because I've played so many games of that recently, because I was hell-bent on getting the best possible outcome I could get, that I played it too much. Okay. But that's my own problem. Everyone should join that league or go play the game you want to play, apart from Arkham Horror. And I had a great time. I had fun with it. I think I played. I was lazy. I wanted to play quick, so I played Nova. Nova beat the goblins. It was perfectly fine. And then I did take Wolverine up against. I don't know. TTS is out to get me. It put me against Venom Goblin 3 times in a row when I hit random scenario. It did the same scenario 3 times, and I thought it was broken. And the final time that I clicked it, it gave me Rhino, which seems weird. But I did Rhino and Expert with Anachronauts, and he beat me, which was fun. I got him to a point. I got him. Well, I played riskily, but I got him to a point that he had 3 + 3 + 1 + 1, and he was already swinging for a base of 3. And those +3s were the charges that gave him the overkill. And I mismathed it. I mismathed it so he was down to 1 health, and I was like, shoot. And I couldn't chump block. I couldn't defend. I had 9 health, and he got me. It was good. It was nice. Played it fast, loose and fast, and he got me. So mad props to Rhino with Anachronauts and Expert. Why not?
Nice. Okay, so these weekly one-shots, though, are only available to find on FFG's social media, right? I think they're on their Facebook page and maybe on their Instagram. And they're posting them on Mondays. And for an example, this week's, for anyone who hasn't seen it, or for Moose, I give you a challenge, right? Each week, they're posting a new challenge for fans of the game to test your skill against. Today's challenge is 2 for 1. Defeat a minion and the villain at the same time with the damage dealt by the fastball special event. So then they tell you what expansions you need. And then this one, you just need the Wolverine Hero Pack, because you'll get the team-up card. So, and that one, Board Game Lawyer and I played. We played against Zola, just straight up standard Zola with all the suggested modular sets, because we knew there'd be minions to fastball special into. And we defeated stage 1 with fastball special, and we defeated stage 2 with fastball special. So we definitely did it.
Wait, you guys weren't playing as Colossus and as Wolverine, were you?
We were. I was Colossus, he was Wolverine.
Oh, that's so lame. That's such a cheat. Come on, dude. Give me a break.
Well, it's a 2-player game. Otherwise, one person would have been the only one who could win.
Yeah, but if you're playing a team-up card, playing both characters is cheating. I had to wait till I got him in my hand. I had to cycle through, give me a break.
So the first one of these was a lot more interesting to me than this fastball special. The one with the aerial cards, I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, the floor is lava.
The floor is lava.
If you flip it alter ego, you take damage from the lava on the floor, I guess. So it's funny. I got a downside. In classic FFG fashion, they mixed the art up between week 1 and week 2.
So confusing when I read those.
The week 2 shows Goblin, but the week 1 challenge is Goblin, and the week 2 shows Fastball Special, but the week 1 art is Fastball Special. It's like funny.
Hey,
it's just funny.
When he throws those pumpkin bombs, it's the Fastball Special, yo.
Oh yeah, okay. All right. Our last mini topic here. Mustafa.
Yeah.
You know Magneto. He's like a villain, a big-time X-Men villain, right? Magneto. You know who Magneto is.
I might have seen a movie or 2 with him in it. Is he the guy who like Michael Fassbender put in the movies?
And he's Gandalf.
Yes.
Oh, he's
Master Magnetism. Yeah. They just announced the Magneto Hero Pack.
Okay.
So they took our big time villain and turned him into a hero.
That doesn't boil my blood as much as it seems to be affecting. It's like, so what? I mean, guy, it was clear that he, if I can remember, wasn't he best friends with Dr. Skinnyhead?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't really do X-Men. I think they're stupid, but
isn't half the movies he's kind of a good guy?
yeah, he's a good guy who just realizes that whatever, I forget now. The little people don't really appreciate the mutants as much as he thinks they should. Grow up.
Well, the little people are trying to eliminate the mutants.
Yeah, fine.
Which he finds problematic.
Wouldn't you? If there were some mutants in your neighborhood?
He's the anti-fascist version of mutants. Why is he made out to be the bad guy?
Yeah. He's not
what's
really
wrong with
that guy in a complicated moral soup of these X-Men movies.
No, I think he's clearly a complex character.
Yes.
Who remains as complex as a toddler who just doesn't get what they want.
Look, you said at the beginning of the show, we're 231 episodes in, which isn't accurate because there's been 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 on so many of them. And you say, here we take a good look at the most critical piece of the game, the encounter sets. We'll discuss those poorly understood characters, unfairly labeled villains.
Yo, you're right.
Now,
You're right.
There is something about this where it's like unfairly labeled villains that does leave me wondering, well, then what did you want them to be called? And here you've got it. Like, Magneto's great. He is one of the best characters ever, and he is the epitome of an unfairly labeled villain, because all he wants maybe he's got a little bit of like anti-human bias too, but give me a break. Everyone was like anti-mutant. He's just trying to save his own species and people.
But in this hero pack, who's he going to be attacking?
Yeah, other villains.
Yeah, his own people. Mutants. Yeah.
No. If you decide to play that, those boxes, sure.
I mean, the Magneto that I know very little from the movies would never do that.
We could do Magneto versus Magneto.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he fights the X-Men all the time.
He makes teams of mutants.
Yeah. He wants the best for mutants, not to.
And he fights against Dark Beast. I mean, Beast is kind of X-Men-y, right?
Yep. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
No, I think it was great.
You can't use him against mutants.
You know what they need to do? They need to come up with a Wolverine to balance this out.
Language.
I mean, he's a bit of a villainy guy, right? He likes to. He's
a beast
later.
Yep.
Yeah. He kills everyone.
Yep.
Doesn't he?
So Magneto is our second villain turned hero. So
there's another.
They're working on it.
Yeah.
Nebula. Way back.
Oh yeah, fine. I get that one.
Yeah, she really is.
Actually, I'm pretty excited for the Magneto hero. I think it's cool. I'm glad they listened to Daniel's song where he said, "I'm sure I could get out of here if I could just get a hero card or something like that."
Yep.
So, you called it, Daniel. So.
Well, Mike called it as the lyricist of that. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm merely saying I'm cool with it. I'm cool with Magneto. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, gentlemen, we have been rambling on for like 42 hours or something. I don't even know.
When we started, Steve, you said like nobody's gonna listen to this if it's over 26 minutes. Do you remember that? Like
You said that. You said
it.
Like they're driving to work. Average commute time is 26 minutes, and
don't blame me. No, you said that. We will go back to episode 0.
Actually, Steve's gonna be totally right on this one, Moose. That was your big thing. Your big thing was it can't be longer than 26 minutes.
Yeah, you better edit the heck out of this thing.
I'm just cutting Moosefoot and saying 26-minute thing.
Fantastic. It should be also noted that you plan on keeping these episodes pretty short, looking at the 25 to 30-minute time frame. Right?
Cleverly timed to the average commute time in the United States. That's because we're clever villains.
Yeah, I mean, of course we've researched that.
Yeah, plan for this thing.
That's right.
That's right.
There it is. And if you didn't hear it, it's because I was wrong. But this was fun. I'm glad, Moose. Thanks for coming back and chatting with us.
It's like the RRG. It's bloated beyond recognition. This whole podcast. There's people from England.
Wow. Steve, James, aren't you glad I brought Moose to?
I'm very happy. I'm so happy.
This is why you have the legendary status you do, sir.
Stop.
And why people always want you on the show. You're a loose cannon. It's brilliant.
Why don't Steve take us out of this thing?
Please, Steve.
All right. If you have a rule you think should be in the RRG and it's not, you can email it to us at criticalencounterspod@gmail.com. We are Critical Encounters on Facebook. You can find our YouTube, Twitch, or Patreon by searching for Critical Encounters Podcast. And on Discord, we are Vardane, Big Phone Love, Wandering Took, Darcy, and The Truth. If you like our show, tell your friends. If you don't like our show, tell your enemies. Magneto, take us out.
I am no hero. Not anymore, obviously. Merely a man who has seen and done and endured what can never be forgotten or forgiven.
All right. Awesome.
For the first time ever, he almost read the line.
He almost read it.
That was very close.
That was as close as he's ever gotten.
He did read it in such a way I could cut it out, though, and make it sound like he read it.
I know you probably cut out like 95% of what I say anyway, so...